Arkham Batman is arguably the most powerful version of Batman who once defeated all the world's greatest fighters in a single night. This Batman is so strong that he has been frozen in a block of ice, and looking at the force required to break out of a 6 to 8 inch block of ice covering most of his body means that Batman is exerting something like 21,000 lifting pounds or 9,500 kilograms of force. With this strength, Batman can easily lift and hold fully grown 190-pound or 86-kilogram adults off the ground with one arm. Grabbing and tossing someone 50 feet or 15 meters away is just as easy as suplexing a thug into a streetlight. Throughout the Arkham series, we see Batman grab and pry open large metal grates that we calculated after looking at the giant half-inch or 1.27 centimeter thick steel bolts that, even if they're cheap bolts, would still require 60,000 pounds per square inch of stress each. Otherwise be the equivalent of Batman pulling 11,760 pounds or 5,300 kilograms per bolt, for a maximum pulling force of 47,040 pounds or 21,200 kilograms. Rates that he later just baseball slides through, which is probably pretty easy for him, seeing how he can exert the force to not only rip off another worse steel grate to a prison cell, but we then see Batman literally force open a bolted metal door, or what appears to be a large bulkhead found in marine or industrial environments that's holding back quite a bit of water. If we assume that this steel bulkhead is something like 6 inches or 0.15 meters thick and 1.7 meters or 6 feet in diameter, it would take something around 50,000 pounds or about 22,680 kilograms to pry open, which Batman does so hard that he causes the surrounding brick to break off. With this grip strength, Batman easily bends metal rods, shatters assault rifles, and as we saw in the opening to Arkham Asylum and then later in Arkham Knight, he can literally punch and glide his way through reinforced bulletproof glass. Glass that is strong enough to withstand thousands of pounds or kilograms of cargo slamming into it, because this glass is likely the sturdiest type of bullet-resistant glass in the world, being glass-clad polycarbonate. Polycarbonate that is basically 250 times stronger than regular glass, that is sandwiched between two glass panels, and these military-grade glass panels are likely on the higher end in terms of their thickness, being something like 2.5 inches or 6.35 centimeters thick, capable of stopping high-powered rifles, automatic weapons, and make Batman's fist practically akin to that of a C4 explosive. With his fists, Batman routinely knocks back giant foes, like an 850-pound or 385-kilogram Killer Croc, who he later knocked unconscious. He has sent a nearly 1,000-pound or 450-kilogram Solomon Grundy into a steel wall, knocking him out, with both of these giant adversaries being able to easily endure small explosions. This Batman is stated to have mastered most forms of martial arts, possibly taking the usual 127 styles up to something more like 180, with him being able to easily knock any human out with one simple punch. Batman has a genius-level intellect, which puts him at an IQ that is somewhere over 180, which is roughly 1 in every 2 million people. But with how fast he learns, creates, and responds to situations, his IQ could be more like 200, which would make him more like 1 in 525 people on the planet. And with this IQ, Batman is known to be an expert inventor, coming up with new inventions to counteract villains like freeze grenades, his grapple gun, plane, car, and any advanced Iron Man-like suit he could want. Batman is said to have mastered all aspects of criminology, ranging from being an expert in criminal psychology, law, victimology, penology, or the study of prisons, as he has the shift and route of every guard on duty at Arkham memorized, allowing him to tell that security cameras were looping. He also traveled the world, studying and mastering fields like chemistry, as he quickly comes up with various cures he manufactures, advanced genetics, cell biology, anatomy, and he is known for having trained to a physical and mental peak, obtaining a form of full body control, meaning that he has been successful at pushing his body to its genetic limit. And Batman can, at will, change his body temperature and can finally control his muscles at a level that no one else can. And he's so good at meditating that we even see him melt ice in the Himalayas with a form of meditation called Tumo. Batman's reaction time and movement speed allows him to basically predict and move out of the way of gunfire no matter where he's standing. As Two-Face tells his thugs to not even try, SWAT officers at Arkham can't touch him in a room where he's even running towards them, Deadshot can't hit him point blank, and even missiles fired from what looks like an M202 flash missile launcher that move at 661 miles or 1,063 kilometers an hour just seem to miss. So throwing swords and kitchen utensils at him really doesn't get the job done. Overall, Arkham Batman's reaction speed, if it's in the top percentage of humans, would be something like him being able to react in 0.15 seconds, while the general population's speed is roughly at 0.25 seconds. But being Batman, he may actually be at something like 0.08 seconds, or the speed of a fast, unconscious human reaction. Batman's bat suit by the end of the series ends by being the most expensive and high-tech one he's ever had, being made from flexible ceramic plates overlying a tri-weave Kevlar and a new MR fluid. MR that stands for Magnetor-Heological Fluid Layer, which is literally a magnetic responsive fluid that basically flows freely like a liquid until it's hit with a sudden impact or collision that causes it to instantly stiffen in response, forming a protective barrier that helps to not only absorb the impact, but also disperse the force of the impact throughout the surrounding fluid, giving this bat suit not only the most mobility, highest shock absorption for those long drops, and even greater force behind his punches, but perhaps the highest protection of any bat suit he's had in the past. This suit is also integrated with all of his technology like the Batmobile, and allows Batman to easily take on 6 Gs of acceleration that could normally cause someone to quickly pass out, and if sustained for a duration for something like a long glide would be fatal, given that if shot between the plates, the MR fluid can only do so much to protect against bullets, and at that point the suit mainly functions to compress around the wound to stop the bleeding. Cause as powerful as Arkham Batman is, he still has a few major weaknesses. Just like me constantly second guessing the occasional really long math equation just to find an estimate, Batman can be overpowered like most anyone. Whether it's with rope, rubble, a swarm of rats, piercing and ballistic weapons will still do him major harm, along with acid and anything else that might overpower his suit, cause he is still human. One that often must rely on technology and his wits to overcome obstacles that could very easily kill him, despite how untouchable he works to come off to everyone else. And many times without a friend there to help him, he would have perished. But if none of this was very interesting, then I saved an interesting fact for last. By the time of Arkham Knight, Bruce is said to be around the age of 35 to 38 years old, and over the course of his career, he has encountered something like around 200 villains. As we go over how powerful some of the strongest villains and heroes are in these videos, tell me if you think they could beat Arkham Batman. See you in the next one.